Hello and welcome to the Book Talks with Sandy and the I Have a Story tour. I am super excited to have you all with me on today. I am very excited. We are here on our Saturday afternoon. Welcome to Book Talks with Sandy. This is I Have a Story book tour. And yes, we have the phenomenal Dr. Eric Holmes, who is kicking off the tour. And we're super excited that he is joining us on today. So listen, you all, I want you to share this out. I want you to take a moment, share it out and to our community and those that you know are definitely looking for a good book to read. I am Sandy Sanders. I am your founder and host of the Coffee Conversation with Sandy platform, where we are being brought to you by the Coffee Conversation platform, Coffee Conversation Sandy and Friends. It is our collective conversation that is aimed to empower you, to encourage and inspire each and every one of you. It is also a place of accountability so that we can be the person who we were born to become, coming from behind the mask and walking in our authenticity. Each week we have our Book Talks with Sandy, and this is, as you know, our quarterly tour. Our quarterly tour, it is for authors. It is for anthology book projects. And most of all, I say that it is for who? It is for you. Why do I say that? It is because you just might be looking for a good book to read. So listen, without further ado, we are going to bring on, hi, Monique, how are you doing? And good afternoon, our ambassador. Yes, Brenda, thank you so much for joining. Monique, thank you for coming on and sharing out. As many of you know, that we are also a podcaster of the CTR Media Network, where the founder and CEO is none other than Dr. Tina J. Ramsey. And as you're saying, yes, by all means, support us by sending those stars. Our stars help us to earn the money to make more content. We are heard in over 350 million homes worldwide and 50 plus countries. We do want you to sit back and just enjoy this great conversation. And you all know, Dr. Eric is, I'm pretty sure he's going to give us a word of wisdom and a word station. Without further ado, Dr. Eric Holmes. And there he is. How you doing?
I'm good, Miss Sandy. Always, it is a privilege and honor always to share with you. You're such a treasure, blessing, your energy, your authenticity. Not only that, but your heart to help promote and push other people, but not only that, a servant of God. And so that supersedes all the other things, a servant who's always serving. So thank you so very much. It is always a privilege, an honor, and I'm always grateful anytime that God brings us together, as he has divinely connected us together. So I'm grateful and I'm thankful just to be here once again.
Absolutely. So without further ado, you all know how we do it. As you're sharing it out, we're going to go ahead and go before the Lord in prayer, asking God to bless our conversation, to be in the midst and the center of all that we do here on Book Talks with Sandy. Dr. Eric, if you will, please.
Father, we thank you even now for this time, this sharing. We thank you for your grace, your mercy, as we have come together to share, but all that you would be glorified. We thank you even with Miss Sandy, Father, this show, this platform that you have blessed her, this vision that you have given her, and God, continue to bless it even now to reach so many people. We thank you even now as we have come together to encourage, to inspire, and to uplift others. Father, so now, God, be in the midst of all of this, but that you would be glorified in all that we say and do. And for everyone who listens and who sees this, oh God, even the replay would be inspired, uplifted, and encouraged. We thank you even now, for we give you glory, honor, and praise in a wonderful name, in the name above all names, the name of Jesus. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Those of you that are tuning in, we are here on our weekly conversation of Book Talks with Sandy. This is a special that we do every quarter where we bring on authors that have the opportunity to showcase their works, their literary works. And today, in kicking it off, this is our quarterly tour, and I am super excited to have my brother in Christ, Dr. Eric Holmes. I'm telling you, this book that he's going to talk about today, guys, you want to pin it, you want to put it down, and most of all, we want to put it in your hands. Dr. Holmes, let me just kind of share a little bit of who he is, and then he and I, we're going to dive into a brief conversation. Dr. Holmes is the senior coordinator in the orthodontic, come on, pronounce it for me, what department?
Otolaryngology, just say ENT, otolaryngology.
Okay, otolaryngology department of Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland, with a passion and dedication to furthering his education and helping others through his teachings. The Charm City native has earned a bachelor's and master's degree in biblical studies and theology, and a master's and a doctorate in Christian education at North Carolina College of Theology. He has been featured in the Enoch Pratt Library Compass, in Writers Live. In addition, his book, How to Handle Patience and Endurance, is now available on Amazon and Enoch Pratt Libraries in Baltimore County Libraries and Dauphin County Libraries in the PA. The book that we're going to be sharing and showcasing today is called The Next Season in Due Season. This book has earned the 5-star of Amazon Books. And one of the reviews, Dr. Eric, that I pulled up, it just blessed me. It says that, first of all, that the book is an excellent read, very easy to understand. It explains very thoroughly the different seasons and how to know what season you are in. I highly recommend this book. You will be empowered. And that's what we're all about. That's our calling in life, is to help empower others. And so this particular book that is called, it is in, let me pull it back up here. It is called My Next Season is Due Season. And so thank you, as always. Thank you. A lot of people don't know that you are your radio show talk host, and among other things, you're an author, as we knowing now, and you also minister in your church. You serve faithfully among the ministry in your congregation. Well, I know that alone right there probably keeps you going.
Yes.
Yeah, you're committed to your pastor, you're committed to the congregation in your ministry. And so finding time to write, you've been writing for a long time. Tell us about your writing journey before we begin to showcase your book.
Wow. And I love saying this because it was God inspired, biblically based. And what I mean with that is that I didn't ask to be an author. About 8 years, 8 years ago, I came down one Saturday morning to pray at one of my prayer times, which was 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And so I was praying, asking God to just bless me with a project, to be a blessing to the kingdom, be a blessing to ministry, to be a blessing to my pastor and first lady. And after praying, I walked in the kitchen and I opened the door to the deck, and it was about 5:45 on a Saturday morning. And this tree in my yard changed, and it changed. He said, "Your season just changed. Your season just changed. Put it in a book." So I turned around. He says, "The power of the seed." So I took out a piece of paper and I put the caption on it, put the title on it, and I drew the tree. And so to this day, I still have all of that. And so from there, it began the writing. That Monday when I got to work, I just literally start writing. And so what I say to people is that you could have missed that Kairos moment. You could have missed that timing and season that God had given you the revelation to being able to do something that would go so further. Oh my God, when I look at where the power of the seed is now, it is amazing. And I could have missed that. Even not understanding that I didn't ask him to write a book. I asked God for a project to be a blessing, but here it is. His plans is always the best plans. Following the plans and instructions with God will always be successful.
I love it. Following the plans and structure. Did I hear? That's what I
The
heard. That
instructions of God.
instructions
Following
of
the
God.
plan and
Absolutely.
instructions
No,
of
excuse me.
God.
I'm getting I need to write is what I need to do. Y'all forgive me. My head went over the camera because the man of God is dropping nuggets. Like, you need to catch them if you want to grab them. Wow. Wow. Audience, we want you all to share this out. We need to bring you on. We want to have you here and just blessing the man of God as he is here on with us and just sharing the author tour. That the reason why I believe God gave me this, Dr. Eric, is because there are so many stories that are gathering dust. There
Yes.
are people, we're buying books and the books are in a box. The writer has written their book, someone's purchased it, but it's sitting over in a box. Well, we're going to help these authors. That is what God has commissioned me to do, being an author myself, is that when you just don't know how to get your book out. And 4 years ago, God gave me this vision. And so we're honored, and that the stories are incredible. The stories are life changing. The stories are empowering. And when you talk about the seed, even with just sharing that seed and the seed of knowledge, the seed of understanding, that seed of encouragement, that seed of empowerment, we have been able, people have come back and testified, is that by watching whatever author or listening to that author, it has changed the trajectory of how they are handling relationships with their family, how they're thinking about themselves, that self-sabotaging thought that, I don't like well, they say stinking thinking, but it's just that mindset.
Mhm.
The enemy wants us to think that we still are bound by our past. We're still bound by mistakes that we've ever made. But the devil is a liar, and these stories are full of life. And I'm just so thankful to have you here and to bring life to someone on today. You all, that while I'm going to come back here, I want to Dr. Holmes, we're going to have you to talk a little bit. Go ahead and just share with us about this book. Is my next season is due season. My next season is due season. Notes that you received a revelation behind Galatians 6:9, and how to walk boldly in your season. Those of you that are listening, we're going to start sharing it out. But at this time, we're going to hear from our guest, Dr. Eric Holmes, and he is the author of the book that is a 5-star review, Amazon review, that he's letting us know today. My next season is due season. Come on, Dr. Eric, and bless us.
And oh, thank you, Miss Sandy. And I love the vision that God has given you. Thank you for allowing me to be part of the vision and part of the journey. And I say this to people. I was at a networking event with my sister, Catherine Trotter, and of course, saw so many different people there. And I said, well, of course, I have to go because I have an obligation, have, a radio interview. But being able to be a blessing to others as they in turn, we get blessed. And so I love your vision and how you bring so many people along on your journey that may not have the platform, may not have the resources, or may not just know how to do it with PR, marketing, all of this. So I've been blessed. So thank you. And so when we talk about my next season is due season, and it's amazing because I met a gentleman there at the event. He got a book, and I was sharing with him. He wanted to start a book podcast. I said, just start writing. All the other stuff will come. And so when we deal with the seasons, we talk right offline. We've gone through all these different seasons, but last week, but yet we're still in winter because spring doesn't start to March 20th. And even when one season is trying to hold on, you still got to endure the season that you're in to get to the next season. And so the book, My Next Season is Due Season, was literally birthed at the same time that the first book was, but wasn't released to 5 years later when the tree in my yard changed again. And so he already gave me that, not knowing He gave me 2 books at the same time, yet it was the timing and season that my next season, is due season, was going to be released. And so we've got to deal with the process and preparation of getting from one season to the next, which we've got to deal with the season that we're in before we can get to the next season. And so many times people are trying to skip seasons. You're trying to skip the process. If you skip the process, you're going to miss something. What God has for us, or what we got to learn, or what we have to endure, or what we have to go through. And this is going to allow you to understand how important it is to deal with the season that you're in. Now, your next season is coming. Even as Paul says in Galatians 6:9, one of the base scriptures of the book is that, listen, you don't have to get weary in well doing. Listen, you got a harvest coming. Just don't faint. The farmer knows that he's got a harvest coming. And so he still got to deal with the season that he's in until the timing and season of the harvest comes up. And so this book allows you to know, first of all, God is in control of all the seasons. We got spring, summer, winter, and fall. And it's amazing, because when I look at this book, I call her Aunt Annette Martin, who did the design of this. And when she sent it, I was like, wow, it hit me, because knowing that just as the seasons change, so in life changes. And it is vital that we prepare for each season, to develop the right posture, to endure the process of the current season, yet before we can transition to the next. Even ants plan for this, even animals. They prepare, knowing that winter is coming. They say birds fly, they're flying to the warmer weather, south. Ants prepare, knowing that, this is a time that they need to store up. We've got to prepare for the next season. We've got to prepare knowing something else is coming. And so the book is going to further help you understanding about recognizing God's process of preparation, which is so important. Developing our posture. What is our posture? Our posture says a lot to God. No matter what I find myself or what season, how is my posture? How is my position? How is my praise? How is me blessing him in the midst of what may be, say, the night season? But can I tell you, morning season is on the way. You got 60 seconds between night and day. And we try to skip the process, yet knowing we got to cultivate this waiting season. We've got to knowing that if I avoid, listen to this, the anxiety while waiting on the manifestation of my due season. But I know I got something coming, because I planned it, I sowed, I prepared for it, yet maintaining a proper perspective. You got to shift your mind, shift your perspective, and then then you can recognize your due season. And so what happens is the process and preparation, it gets you ready. But if I'm trying to skip the process, I'm going to miss it. I always use this illustration. My first lady, Dr. Pender, she can bake. Like, she knows her craft. She is absolutely an amazing baker. Like, anybody that has a cake over these cakes. But here's the thing. Though she knows the craft, though she knows all of this, she still got to go through the process and preparation. She's still got to make sure all the ingredients are in. She's got to do all of the preparation, the process, put it in the oven. She knows it firsthand. But guess what? She still got to go through the process and preparation. Hey, what's up, Rev? Allison Daniels, congratulations. She just retired, y'all. Oh, she's a phenomenal author, awesome woman of God. And so you got to go through the process and preparation. You've got to deal with, I'm going to read something out of this because I really want you to get it. And so sometimes we see people where they are now, but there was a process to getting where I am or whoever it might be to where they going, where they are. And we skip it here. Listen to this. The Bible speaks of due season as a time when we realize or achieve something for which we have been waiting and or preparing to receive. I'm waiting on my due season. I'm waiting on my harvest. I'm preparing. I'm in preparation. And then Galatians says, and let us not be weary and well doing, for in due season. Listen, y'all, it's that timing and season. We cannot skip the timing and season of God because we're going to miss something. We shall reap if we faint not. So here's what it recommends. How we wait for our due season is extremely important. As the above caption in scripture says, Galatians indicates we cannot allow ourselves to get tired of doing good while we wait for God's blessings. It's process. It's preparation. And so I know I got something coming. If I know my birthday or Christmas, you know how we were little, we know they say you got to be good and all that, but you know you got presents coming, or you know you have something coming. So I get excited, but I'm preparing in my mind. I'm shifting my posture. I'm getting ready for what is to come. But I just can't skip the process. I can't skip the season that I'm in before I can get to the next season. How you handle the middle process. I remember God said, how you handle the middle process is going to determine the outcome. This next season, my due season, my harvest season, you cannot get it. The farmer can't get it unless he's prepared, sown, planted. You know, the waiting period. Handling the middle process, nurturing, watering, and knowing that seeds going to germinate through the underground process, but he knows that he's got a harvest coming, and it may not be in the first year, so he starts the process all over again. Can I tell you, you may have to start the process all over again, but you never take focus off that I got something coming. When we were in, and I'm going to shift in a minute, when we were in Aruba and in Punta Cana right before the pandemic, and we went on a tour, and we went through the process of how they get coffee, which we got at the end, but they couldn't skip the middle of the process. So from the beginning to the middle to the end, now we were able to drink the cup of coffee. What if they would have skipped the middle of the process? We would not have a good product of coffee to drink. It's important. Understanding that you have your next season. My next season is due season. You have a season coming, or as the saints would say, a due season, you know, that fifth season. But you got to wait, and the process and preparation of the season that I'm in. Or in the words of my former pastor, the late Apostle Evans, said it like this: I don't want nothing prematurely because I might not be able to handle it. And so what happens is, we've got to wait on the timing and season of God. There is a clock on here that happened to strike me that I actually didn't know that the clock was on there. And I looked at it and said, wow, it reminds me I've got to operate in the timing and season. I can't skip the process. I've got to endure. I've got to prepare in order to get what is coming to me. So don't skip the process. Endure the process. Prepare. You know, when I finished yesterday for the Carey Business School in public speaking for professionals, I had to prepare a speech. I had to prepare a presentation. We prepared, me and my teammate. We rehearsed. We went over it. But when we had to present, show slides, but it was a phenomenal presentation. But there was process, there was preparation. I could not skip the studying with my teammate, so we would be on the same page. And then we had to do a transitional shift where she picked up the second part of it to end and finish the presentation. That's why you can't skip the process. That's why you got to go through the whole process in preparation from getting from one season to the next. Listen to this. As seasons is about to change and has been changing, you must understand you can prepare for it. One thing I heard God say is don't compromise your greater season based on, oh my God, based on the current season. Don't you get distracted or get off track, knowing that my season right now that I'm in, it doesn't look like where I'm going. But you got to stay focused. You got to stay determined. You got to see things from another perspective. And sometimes we can miss our season or our blessing because we're more focused on where we are right now in the season. You must look beyond your present situation or circumstance. Sometimes it's hard, absolutely, but you will never move forward if you stay stuck in your current situation. I know, because 5 years ago, and I share this testimony, I was in between the wilderness and the promise, not knowing that a book will be released. See, that's why you got to see the positive, even when it looks like a negative situation. Even in my current season, that may look bleak, that may look dim, but the season that I am is not where I'm going. And so I got to see it different. I got to shift my mind. I got to shift my perspective. I got to look through the lens of the camera. I got to adjust the camera. Like I had to adjust the camera on here. I've got to adjust it and get the right angle, because sometimes in life, the angle gets off, but yet and still, when I get focused, when I adjust the lens, now I can see clear. And then I got to see it through the eyes of faith. I got to see it through the eyes of grace, knowing that I got something coming, knowing that the word said, listen, don't get weary while I'm doing good. My current season that I'm in, guess what? It's another season coming, y'all. Listen, spring is on the way. I remember my Bishop Pender preaching this message. My winter is over and my spring is here. Now we were in the winter season, but I know that spring was coming. It starts to changing and the shifting in the season, in the atmosphere. So you start seeing flowers, the trees start changing. And so my mind is shifted because I know I got another season coming, y'all. You've got to endure what you're in right now, but knowing that it won't last always. It won't be where you're going to stay unless you don't shift your mind, your perspective, your posture. Your posture says a lot to God. Even how am I going to bless him? Because I'm in a season right now. I'm telling you, this was birthed out of, listen, when I was in between positions, when I was in between the wilderness and the promise, one thing God said, well, he said quite a few things, but he said, don't compromise your promise and settle for less. It is worth the wait. I'm going to show you how to navigate through the wilderness to get to the promise. The other side, the promise is still good. There's no expiration date to what he promised or his word. I just had to deal with the wilderness experience. I had to go through, and how I went through was going to determine how I came out. So how you handle the middle process is going to determine the outcome. Shift your mind. Shift your perspective. You got to see it different. You got to look at it different. It's all working together. As Paul said, it's all working together for my good. As Fred Hammond says, late in the midnight hour, God's going to turn it around. It's going to work in my favor, y'all. I promise you, I'm telling you, it's going to work in our favor. But it's a faith thing. You got to have faith enough to believe it. You got to have faith enough to trust God, trust the process, trust God in the process, knowing that it's going to work for my good. It's going to strengthen me. It's going to help me. It's going to move me forward. But I'm telling you, you got to know that there's another season coming. But can I tell you, it's preparing me for the greater season. I know sometimes in life is rough. And listen, as you travel through life's many seasons, just remember what the Lord tells us in Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Listen, that's a promise, y'all. Some of the season you had to experience may have been painful, or you may think it was not a good season because you had to deal with or go through. But as I can tell you, and I'm reminded, take another look. See it differently. See it from another perspective. And what did I come out of this season with, and what did I learn? How has it helped me? Then you must say to yourself, I'm looking for my next season. So my next season is due season. I got another season coming. I've got something greater coming than what I'm in right now. But you got to hold on. You got to hang in there. Listen, Hebrews 10:23 said, listen, hold to the profession of your faith without wavering. For he who promised, he's faithful, y'all. Hebrews 6:10 says, God is not unrighteous to forget our labor of love. If he said it, can I tell you, it's going to happen. I shared this, I posted after 30 days, the miracle God blessed me with the car, going through all of this with this car shield and, oh God, don't y'all get them, dealing with this and money and putting out all this money, the car, it was just so much car rentals. But guess what? I didn't share it until only with a few and my prayer partners and all that. But yet and still, even in the midst of what looked like a chaotic situation, God turned around and worked a miracle in the midst of it all, y'all. So that's why I'm saying you got to shift your mind, shift your perspective. And so what looked like a negative situation turned out to be a positive one. Now I'm driving another car. What a mighty God we serve. And so, but I was blessing even in the midst of it. That's why we can't murmur or complain. I know sometimes the season seems rough, or it seems like your season not coming, or things are not changing. But I'm here to tell you from experience, even when I wrote this book, I was in a wilderness experience. Yet and still, he said, but you got to be able to write it to be able to release it. And so that's when I was able to be able to write it and release it. I was out of the country while I was in between positions. I'm going to tell you about the God we serve. But knowing I kept on writing, I kept on following the plan and instructions. And yet when I look back now and see what God has done and what he's doing, all glory goes to him. And many of them that I shared about this whole car experience, can I tell you, wow, the contract and following the guidelines in the contract and all of that. But yet and still, God already knew there was something else on the other end, y'all. And so I'm telling the preparation and preparing, you got to prepare in your mind. Whether when I was moving into my home, I had to go out and look. I prepared before I even had it. So you got to see it before you see it and then recognize it when it comes. We know at 2 a.m. we're springing forward, right? So now we're shifting into another time. We're shifting into where it's going to be lighter. We're shifting into another season. So you got to shift your mind. You got to shift your perspective. If I am, and as my bishop would say, if I don't expect nothing, I'm not going to get nothing. I'm in great expectation of everything that is declared in his word, every promise. You got to have faith enough to believe it. You got to have trust. You got to trust God enough. If he said it, it's going to happen. I don't care if it happens 5 months from now. Long as he shows up, it's still in the right timing and season, because anytime he shows up, it's still the right timing. His timing ain't ours anyway. He operates on his own time. He created time. He is time. So whenever he shows up, it's always the right time. Just like with Daniel, things held up 21 days. Guess what? It's one thing, and I always say, and I preach this message, listen, there's one thing for God to send help. There's another for him to show up because he is the help. Listen, it was just delayed on purpose, for purpose, but yet still on schedule, because God is always on schedule. Showed up right on time. So don't get weary where you are. Paul tells us, listen, keep on doing good. You got a harvest coming. Just don't faint. Listen, can I tell you, this is not the season to faint. I'm in great expectation. I got too much that I'm expecting God to do on this prayer board, vision and goal board, this affirmation board. And can I tell you this? You got to work while you wait. You got to have faith enough to believe while you wait. And you have a part to play until the manifestation of it happens. You got a part to play in it. Because if you don't believe it, if you're not in expectation, nothing going to happen. You got to have faith enough. I'm telling you from experience, y'all. And so when I wrote this affirmation, I said, don't apologize for being favored or blessed. Why would I apologize after all I had to endure? to just to even get to this point, yet to know I got something greater coming, knowing I got my next season, it's my due season. Yeah. Planning, preparation, process. Hold on, y'all. It's about to change. Shift and change. So shift your mind, shift your perspective, knowing that your next season is due season, but you've got to endure the season that you're in before you can get to the next season. You cannot skip the season, y'all. I'm telling you, you're going to be repeating a cycle. Look at the children of Israel. You're going to be repeating a cycle. So shift your mind and shift your perspective. You got something coming, but how you wait, how you handle it, how you deal with it is going to determine the outcome.
Bye. Come on, y'all, give it up. Dr. Eric Holmes. I knew it, y'all. Oh my goodness, kicking off the I Have a Story. And if you grabbed what he was telling you, the story, the testimony of the experience about his wilderness experience. Then he shared about some natural things that took place regarding his transportation and his car, and the relationship of a contract, of a provider, service provider. Then he comes back and lets you know about all of the people that have imparted those words of wisdom, those nuggets. And one of the things that you dropped, you said, write it. We're authors here. And even in the midst of his wilderness season, he comes back and shares with us today is write it to release it, is what I wrote down. Did I get that part right?
That's it.
Yep.
That's
write
it.
it. You have to write it to release it. You can't hold up on not writing. Hi, son. Hi, y'all. Real time. So we say hello to my grandson. Okay. All right. So we do thank you for coming through. Again, another nugget, you all. Work while you wait. Work while you're waiting on the promises of God, while you're waiting for that next due season. But you're in a season now. And how fitting, Dr. Holmes, I did see it earlier that we're about to shift our time again. And here we come. We're kicking off the tour with this book here that you are sharing with us. You all, we want to give you the opportunity to know where you can purchase this book. The book is called My Next Season is Due Season. I did have it up in the stream, but also your website. I did have that streaming, I believe, down at the bottom. And also then we're going to jump over to, let me see, here we go. Is this it? No, that's not it right there. Bear with me here. I did have it up, your website. Let me just,
I
okay,
did
here we
type
go.
it in the
The
chat
Power
too.
of the Sea. Here we go.
Yeah.
Also to shifting it, you all, we want to put the book in your hand. I need you to reach out to Dr. Holmes. We'll be getting his information from his website. And yes, The Power of the Seed. And you can find this among the other literary projects that he has. But Dr. Holmes also has a project that he is working on, you all. He will be back with us. I'm looking at my calendar. He will be back with us on the 16th, and we will be interviewing. We're going to be putting together some of these speakers that will be a panelist at his upcoming event. And we are super excited to just every year, this project that you do, when we learned of it, and I really felt that this, the power of the pen, the author's pen event. This is for networking. There's quite a bit of things that will be going on. Let me just share my screen, you all. And he kept saying perspective, and he's going with a different angle. God gave him the vision to have it, to hear from the male perspective, getting the male perspective. So many times that we are speakers, we go to events, Dr. Holmes, and you yourself, you may find yourself as being the only male there. Have for years, probably, because they wanted to only empower us, But what about the men of God? What about the men? What about hearing what they have to say? And so I think this is so unique that God has given this vision to you to be able to share this upcoming project, this upcoming event. You all, it is in Baltimore, Maryland. Those that are watching the replay, listen, if you're in that area, I say if you're anywhere from New Jersey, New York, New Jersey, and coming on down to Baltimore, you know, we would take that trip just to go to the harbor. I know I lived in New Jersey for years. And if you are south and you are in North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, all in that area, I need you to make your way May 27th to be in Baltimore. The power of the authors is the power of the pen. This is the Authors Expo. And they're going to be hearing from the males, from a male perspective. Share with us just a snippet of what the expectation of what one can expect when attending the Power of the Pen Expo, Authors Expo.
Wow, it's going to be an experience, an epic experience, because again, I am following the plan and instructions of God. Had everything mapped out. He said, do it from a male's perspective. And this is from a Black male's perspective. And
Yep.
so you're going to hear different diversity of transparency, testimonies. Not only it's one thing I say to read a book, but it's another to hear somebody tell about it who has written it, because can't nobody tell your story like you can. And so we got, you know, it's going to be a networking event. Here's my thing. As I looked at this award I received for Minority Dreams in reference to networking in the African American community, I am doing this for the culture and community.
That's good.
To bring that where iron sharpens iron, and we are brothers and sisters. We can help one another. So you're going to have the red carpet. You're going to have entertainment. You're going to have vendors. But most of all, you're going to hear wisdom. You're going to hear words. You're going to hear knowledge. But it is, we have come together, culture and community.
Yep, absolutely. Culture and community. I'm loving it. So you'll be hearing more about the upcoming event, as well as when Dr. Holmes will be sharing the platform with us again. And we'll be talking more about the upcoming event and how we can support, how we can even sponsor someone to come. Because I think as what you're doing is that, what can we do to bring some more young Black men into an atmosphere they don't know, may not know. There's that stigma, that fear. Having the wall up, but when you start breaking down those walls, you'll find out he has the same needs that these panelists, what I'm speaking of and where I'm seeing this is that there's a brother that, you know, may not feel like he fit in, you know, because of mistakes that he's made, journeys that he's walked through. But when you begin to break those walls down, they will find that the person that's sitting on that stage may have gone through the same thing. So that's why I have such a passion for what you're doing. I have such a passion. I'm excited when I saw it come through again this year. We will be sewing a couple of tickets just for you to be able to give them away. Y'all go grab somebody from the Boys and Girls Club. Go grab somebody from the high school or the community college. Let them see themselves and what the possibilities are. I always love this. I'm telling you, we believe in God that next year that we'll have the opportunity, Lord willing, that we can be in that space. We want to make that happen. I would love to be there. So listen, I'm going to ask that you share with us exactly how we can get the book. And then I'm going to hold tight, going to hear from one of our sponsors. We are going to be hearing from the CTR Media Network. And you all, if you'll just hold tight here for 1 second, and we will be hearing from CTR Media Network, and then we'll be back to hear how we can put this book in your hands.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.
Yes, CTR Media Network, and that's how you can be. And we have it streaming across the bottom, CTR Media Network and podcasters. Dr. Holmes, if you can let us know how we can put the book in our hands, please.
You can go to my website, which is in the chat, The Power of the Seed, and you can find it on there. The link, you can just click on each one of it and it will email. All of that information is right on there, thepoweroftheseed.com. Or you can reach out to me on any of the social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, under Dr. Eric Holmes, and you can actually get this. And for those who just cannot, by the way, you can, if you're in the Baltimore area, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Dauphin County and PA, Westminster Carroll County Library, you might be in Mexico or Australia, you can get this book there. And so God has truly blessed me that this book has traveled abroad. And so you can get it there, or just go directly to the website, message me, hit me up on any of the social media, and I'll be sure to sign it and send you the copy of My Next Season is Due Season, which will bless you. It will help you to prepare in the planning, the preparation process to get you from one season to the next.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for kicking off. What a way to kick off the I Have a Story tour. And yes, Dr. Holmes, thank you so much. You all be sure to tune in with me. I will be back on Monday evening, and I want to share with you our next author that will be coming up. I want to share my screen. It is none other than Celeste Payne, Minister Celeste Payne. She will be sharing her book. She is an artist. Let me just share my screen here briefly. And let's see, where is she? There she is. Okay, Minister Celeste Payne, as she's introducing herself, yes, she is a five-time best-selling author. She has some children books that she had published back in 1998. Her first book listed on Amazon was Sermon Notes Journal in 2010. The second one, Amazon Ideal Journal. And then her third, Which God Has a Miracle for You. She is an artist, an author, a speaker, and you can find her at CLSSYB.com. But as you can see that she has several books there in her hand that you will see. And then our next author that will be with me on Tuesday evening will be none other than she is the Chief Information Officer in the county. And we're talking about Kenyatta Rutgers. Kenyatta Powers Rutgers. I always get her name.
Excuse me. Kenyatta.
Yes, she will be with me on Tuesday, along with her authors of her upcoming project. And these are just a few. It's close to 20 authors that are part of the project, but she will be sharing ladies in tech, those that are in the technology field, sharing their expertise for a successful career in the field of technology. So these are a few of the women that will be on the platform. They're part of the tour. And then their second interview will be just before their Amazon bestseller campaign, which will be in May. But she's got so many. So we're working out where we can bring some more authors on to share this amazing book. She is a visionary author now, and so we're super excited. Wow. So the tour, we're kicking off. We got quite a few that'll be joining us, and so Dr. Holmes, thank you for kicking the tour off. Thank you for sharing and letting us know about our better perspective on our seasons. And I love it how you said, write it to release it. And yes, work while you wait. It is always my custom here on Book Talks with Sandy to yield back and allow our guests to have the final words. But most of all, you all, before we do, I want you to share this out. I want you to get it out to someone that you know that will be blessed by what has been said on our platform today. And most of all, listen, I want you guys to just be encouraged, empowered, and inspired. Dr. Holmes, if you will.
Once again, thank you, Miss Sandy, and always for this amazing platform, this amazing vision that God has birthed in you to release to a nation. So thank you so very much, and all that you do to help push others to share their information with the world. And so I just want to say to all of those, whether it's the replay, whether you're listening, watching now, don't give up on your dreams, your vision, your goals. Don't let them die. Don't allow others to cause them to die. Don't even allow yourself. Follow the plan and instructions God gave, or like Abraham, he will show you as you go. You may not understand it, but if you follow the plan and instructions, it will always be successful. He will show you as you go, and just continue to work while you wait. Write it and release it. So be inspired and encouraged that knowing that the season that you're in, it won't last always. There's another season coming. You just got to trust the process, trust God, and then trust God to bring you out, and endure the season that you're in until you get to the next season. It's a shifting already taking place in the atmosphere, in the season, and in the time. So you're right on target. You're right on schedule. Keep pushing, pressing, and pursuing purpose to connect with destiny and live on purpose, with purpose, for purpose.
And live on purpose with purpose. I love it. Listen, I am super excited. Thank you so much again for being a part of the I Have a Story quarterly tour, kicking us off for 2023, Dr. Eric Holmes. I am Sandy Sanders. It has been my pleasure to have each and every one of you to join us on this afternoon. Do look for us. Yes, we'll be back. We will on our Monday morning coffee conversation. I want you to join me for our journey of making room for a positive transformation in your life. As always, you guys know that I love you. Be blessed. Have an amazing weekend. And most of all, you guys, I'll see you around. I'll see you. All right. Take care.